Solid. Welcome everybody to the HOA, the social club. I have my good friend, Jos, the Butter Pecan Puerto Rican. If you guys didn't know, I want to mention that the HOA is also a subsidiary of Beans and Rice Network. So here we go. First episode. Thank you, Jos, for being the first neighbor to show up. To the HOA.
I'm surprised you picked me first, so I appreciate it. I don't know what that means. It could mean anything, but
really, because Beefy denied me. Alice was busy.
Oh damn. Okay.
Kamzy said he'd be on, but I think he has anxiety, like social anxiety. So
that's fair. Okay.
Yeah, but dude, I'm just gonna rapid fire you a few questions.
Okay.
Yay or nay?
Rapid fire. So you want short answers?
No, I'm just kidding. You can answer however you want.
Can I cuss?
This is a free country. You can cuss all you want.
I can cuss all I want.
I will try to refrain from.
I will also try to refrain to prove to people I don't have to cuss. I choose to because I like it.
I don't choose to. It just comes out naturally because I was raised in a poorer neighborhood where the education wasn't very good,
That explains being a subsidiary of Beans and Rice.
Yeah.
Subsidiary.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah. You should have fucking corrected me in the first place.
I corrected you now. Okay, you're the host. I can't make you look bad. Even
and I'll probably still say it wrong later,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
You want me to do camera work or just look at you? Do you want me to look at these people?
The two people that are like showing or watching.
Maybe we'll get red lights one day so we know which one we're looking at.
Right? Yeah. I want to say I'm staring at the middle one, but I know this one's directly in front of me.
I'm just like panning to both as much as I can. Yeah.
But dude, so you've talked about building a roster.
Oh, great. Okay. Cool. Let's talk about building a roster.
Yeah, dating is going to be a big section here.
It is November though, first of all. So right now, not a thing for me, but yes, I have said that before.
You're just rebuilding, right now. You did mention it.
Sure.
And right now could be the perfect rebuild time, You got like a month a month. November barely started.
It could be longer, but yeah, a month.
Well, we'll see. But you talked about building a roster. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, it's building good relationships around my friends and other people. I need to be surrounded by good people during this time of the year. Because it's supposed to be the happiest time of the year. But people forget to mention, it's only happy if you make it happy. If you're going to sit there and brood and wait for people to make you happy, that's not it.
No, it's not. But no, I'm just kidding. So why do you think in dating... Okay, this is me being a married man.
Sure.
I've been in two long relationships, So I want to know what the dating scene is like nowadays. Because I don't know. You don't have any dating apps?
No, I tried one once. Well, more than one. Terrible. Everyone just wants you to follow their Instagram page. They want, clout, whatever. They just want followers. They're not even interested in dating.
That is weird, dude. Because I think about this all the time. Like, yo, if Cynthia ever broke up with me, I would be like, what the fuck am I doing out here?
It's like the FOMO thing. I think there's so many options people can't even think of or correspond. Correspond's the wrong word.
Correlate?
No, I don't know. They can't conceive themselves just sitting with one person and figuring it out with them even for months on end because they always think, oh, this next person might be better. Oh, I missed out on them. Or maybe they just like all the attention. That's a big possibility too. But I think when people think, oh, I don't want to miss out, that's when you miss out the most because you're not even settling for anyone.
True. But I mean, do you feel any of that? Like the FOMO at all?
Like, do I feel like I'm missing out?
Yeah, as of now.
Maybe on the married life. I feel like if I were married, I'd have a lot of benefits I would have had now that I don't have.
Okay.
Like, I guess more of a peace of mind, not having to deal with dating, even though I'm not really dating at the moment. Like missing out is like on having a kid, right? Having a family at a younger age versus older, and I know there's pros and cons to both. I don't know. I guess there's pros and cons to both. Whatever, each is personal. It's a nuanced thing, but I don't think I'm missing anything out on dating right now. It is what it is. If it was 20 years earlier, not me being 10, but if I were born 20 years earlier, I feel like it would have been much easier based on my personality style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, I know you like to be, like, direct and you don't play no games.
Yeah.
Do you think that's
doesn't
affected?
work well. Yeah, it I think it makes it harder for me.
As far as what, like people not reciprocating that energy, be like, hey, whoa, like this guy's too intense. Like,
Yeah, intensity is one thing for sure. I think a lot of people aren't ready for it, so they might construe it as me being kind of a jerk. Even though I feel like I'm pretty tactful about it. I also think being
but do you think that's like just an insecurity on the other person's behalf,
yeah, it could be.
or
Or they've never been talked to that way, maybe, right? Where people, there's so many yes men, and I'm not making myself out to not be a yes man, even though I don't think I am. They've never experienced someone checking them or not like drooling
any
over them.
correction?
Yeah. And they've had no correction. It's like someone standing their ground. It's everyone's so agreeable that it makes when they hear something like that, it's so on the opposite side of what they're used to. It like halts them because it's so jarring emotionally, maybe mentally. So they don't know what to do with me.
Yeah,
So then they just kind of move on or like, they don't know what to do with
they
it.
don't even reply.
Yeah. And maybe I could be better about it, but I don't know how to not be that way.
Okay, but when that happens, does it happen like over like the phone, like in an app, like in person? A
I
little of
prefer
everything?
always in person at most. If I can't do in person, I prefer phone call. Then I default to texting, but that's not my best form of communication. Especially with if you're going to be direct, like in text.
People can read it any type of way.
Yeah,
but
there's no context outside of just reading it. So they read it however they want to. And now you hear my voice. My voice is like pretty monotone and kind of like strong. So it sounds even like if they've heard me before, now they're only reading me, they're interpreting this voice being like, hey, I don't like, I mean, not that I would say something like, I don't like that, but they're like, oh, he's being mean. He's angry. He's grumpy.
yeah.
And I can be, but I don't think most of the time I am.
And as far as like in your past relationships, was that an issue?
No, when I was younger, I think maybe it's just because I got to know them before I dated them that they just kind of understood who I was. Now it's like meeting people with like a cold approach, right?
Yeah.
Where you've never met them before. So you just kind of like introduce yourself and do that. Or the dating apps, which didn't work out, maybe mutual friends that had me meet someone else. That helps a lot because they vouch for me. So then they can describe the person to them or describe me to the person
Yeah.
before I meet them. So it's not complete like, oh, they told me this, maybe simmer down a little bit because I have dry humor too.
Oh,
And I don't make it known that it's a joke until long after you know because you've known me very well.
Yeah.
But that also doesn't help me either.
well, yeah. But what was I gonna say? Damn, I lost it. I was gonna say, like, what do you think your friends are like? This guy's a powerful guy. It's just like, hey, this guy's super powerful, super strict. You know?
I think my friends know that I have boundaries and I abide by them, but I'm very honest, right? Like I'm not going to string someone along.
Yeah.
Like if I know it's not going to work out with a woman that I met, I do make it. I don't want to waste their time. I don't want them to waste mine. So I think that's valuable. So they would probably tell them he knows what he's looking for. He won't lie to you. So you can trust if he tells you whatever, that's probably exactly what it is.
Okay. Because you know what I picture when like you say all that?
What?
That I don't know if you've watched The Office, where Daryl and Kelly are kind of a thing.
Which one's Daryl is?
The warehouse guy.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, yes.
And Kelly's the Indian girl.
Yes.
And she's like, what is this guy? What kind of games is he playing? And all he's doing is being very direct.
I forgot.
You're not even playing games, and they're like, what kind of game
And
is
she
he?
thinks it is because that's all she knows.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I
a
picture.
good analogy to use.
Yeah.
Well, not now. Is it? Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if it's an analogy, but
I know.
that's what it reminds
yeah.
me of. It's similar to that. That's what I picture when.
That's actually pretty fair in the sense of that, not the way that developed. Okay, I've seen The Office.
Yeah, I'm not
My
saying it's
relationships
that.
don't go. Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's smart to think of it that way because I do think it throws people off because they're used to whatever it is.
And by people, you
the
mean
dating
women.
scene is now. Well, yeah, I don't date men, so the women, if you want to be very specific,
Yeah.
the women that I've attempted to court or date or have dated is, I think they're thrown off because they're used to whatever their game is. Not just the women's game, but
Or
whatever,
even whatever previous relationship patterns that they've developed.
yeah, or whatever social patterns the men have that they interact with. It's so different they don't know how to view me.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Because I talk to people at work, and they're like, you have like these 26-year-olds that can't even find like stable relationships, and everyone seems so depressed and stuff.
Yeah,
So it like scares the shit out of me. I'm like, damn, if I'm single, if I'm ever single again, if Cynthia ever like breaks it off or whatever, like that's game over. Like I'm just gonna be like the grumpy old man later on in life,
Yeah,
So
but what is it they always say? It's better to have love and loss than to never
never
love
have
at
love.
all.
Yep.
And I'm on the latter part. I don't know if to tell you
Somebody
what's
fact
best,
check that.
but I feel pretty okay right now, Serotonin is good. I sleep all
These
right.
endorphins from the coffee. What is those stupid memes say?
I get more food to myself. I take myself out on expensive dates
Oh, that's it.
because I'm a boss like that. Yeah.
It was funny. That's what I told Cynthia before we got back together.
Yeah.
I was gonna Kanye the shit out of myself. I'm gonna treat myself like a god, give myself grapes. Take me. I'm gonna end up in Greece by myself,
Did you wear an olive branch
I
crown?
fucking wish I did.
Oh, you should have, man. I could have found you one.
Some slippers, the gladiator slippers and stuff,
It would look like the Garden of Gethsemane in your living room,
I don't know about
No, the olive. Okay, the Garden of Gethsemane, for those that don't know. Be a bit cultured. Go ahead and read a book. This one being the
Specifically the
Bible.
book.
Yeah. The Garden of Gethsemane, olive trees galore.
True, but then that's where Jesus denied temptation.
That's where he prayed and bled out of every pore in his body.
Oh damn! Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
But
Y'all sins be y'all sins. He's an unselfish person.
what a great guy, fucking Jesus. I also want to bring up modern women and how 80% of them date or think that. So women, let me say, I'm saying this all wrong, but women think that 80% of men are unattractive.
Is this a fact?
This is a study by OkCupid surveys.
Okay.
So
very credible.
yeah, super credible. Cupid, who knows more than love?
Who
than
knows
Cupid?
more than a cherub, okay?
You fucking
The
idiots.
symbol of love and really
He's also
lust,
a Greek god, isn't he?
Well,
Cherubs? I know they're in the
they're
Bible.
Greek mythology. Yeah, but the cherub refers to the angel. I think Anyways, go ahead.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Cupid's a Greek god, I think.
they're Cupid, or there's cherubs in Greek mythology. I'm sure.
I thought so.
If I'm not, don't shoot the messenger.
Fact check that, please.
The person that shoots is the cherub. Okay.
Yeah, so where I'm going with this is like on dating apps. That's why I brought up dating apps.
Okay. I have used that one too, by the way.
What?
Trash. Okay, Cupid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they probably have it. It's pretty accurate if they're like. If I didn't know it was an app, dude. I thought it was just like a website that talked about love or whatever.
Yeah.
But it also says that they're like specifically women are dating only or sleeping with 20% of men.
Okay.
So like, I don't know.
So they find 80% unattractive. So the other 20% that they find attractive
Is
they're
who
sleeping
everybody
with?
sleeps with. Yeah.
So they sleep with 100% of the men they find attractive, if
Essentially,
they're able to.
yeah. Which only ends up being 20% of men in actuality.
That's a crazy stat.
I thought so, and I was like,
I mean,
man.
based off of the one application/website.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do with this info?
No, I was just like, dude.
I didn't know if you just were stating it or had a question for me.
I have my notes here,
Okay.
But I was just stating that because that's what I was like, oh, maybe you can say something to that effect. Like, is that because like they're saying that men swipe right? Is it right, dude? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's right for yes. Left is no. If I remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm left-handed, guys. I swipe left on all you women. I'm kidding. I don't. Otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. I've had some. What would I call them? Hits.
I don't know what
Connections, whatever.
I'm trying to learn here.
So I mean, I don't know if that applies to me. I guess maybe this makes me feel a bit better that I'm not part of the 80% unattractive.
Oh, you're part of the 20 that's sleeping around with all these bitches.
No,
Just kidding.
no.
I'm just kidding.
I've had some success in the sense of being able to meet with someone, going on dates, never anything specifically long term. Activities, maybe of adult nature, sure, but so I guess that statistic I didn't know, and I guess it's not at the moment a reality for me.
Well, yeah, because it's November, So of course you're not sleeping with these women.
I'm a plus size male model. Maybe that helps me in the long run.
I'm sure it does, dude. You're
and
in the
again-
20 percentile. I don't think I'll even hit that. Like,
I'm in the 20 percentile for BMI. Okay, on the big side, I got a lot of weight to lose.
no, that's me. I'm my BMI is probably like 30 or 40 with all
I'm
the
sure
candy.
mine's much higher than yours, but I'm trying to answer your question or provide some insight because I don't want it to be. You said rapid fire, not going to be that quick.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting experience, I guess, online dating. I wouldn't take that to heart.
I mean, I'm sure it's not 100% accurate, and it's only one
It's a small
website or
sample
whatever.
size, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And
And who the hell really uses OkCupid? Like,
I did.
no, dude, that's so funny.
It was years ago though. But I don't know. Like I said, I had some success, so I can't correlate to that 100%. But that would suck being if you're part of the 80%. But even like I said, maybe I stick out enough for women to at least even respond a little bit. Not everyone, just like still a small number.
Yeah, dude, 20%.
But the ones that do, I mean, I'm able to get some of them to go out with me, and oh man, it's just like it's a waste of time, guys. Any guys that are listening to this, don't do the online game like applications. I don't think it's beneficial. Maybe you have more success than me, but I think it's a huge waste of time.
Well, I think, dude, like, honestly, I think about it, and it, like, as a society, I think it's pretty fucked up that, like, we're meant to not, everyone's like, oh, don't judge, only God can judge me, and yet you're on a fucking app, and people are swiping left and right, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you want to judge the person you're going to be with the rest of your life. Could you imagine? Oh, I'm not going to judge you. I'll marry you. And next thing you know, you got a couple black eyes every month.
But I feel like this is a way, like, a superficial level that's never been seen before.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know? So, like...
Well, the access to the amount of people, because normally you would think, what? It's in the generic area that you're living in. And that's if you didn't get married in, like, to a high school person you know.
Yeah.
And normally you like to know the person, right? The history behind them. Are they mentally stable? Are they financially responsible? Do they have a good relationship with their family? Do they maintain friendships? Because that's really important to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I have, because I've dated someone for a long term, I guess, and I saw how many friends she cycled through, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, it
That's
was a
when you
red
start
flag
putting
I could have picked
two
up
together?
on.
Yeah.
Like I saw the red flag. I chose to ignore it, which is a lot of people do.
I had a similar experience.
Yeah.
I had a long-term relationship like that, and I was like, man, why are we never hanging out with like the same friends over and over, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like almost every 6 months or every year, it was like somebody, like new people. I'm like, what the heck? And I didn't catch on until like later on, and like, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to think when people that don't have.
But that's like a super red flag. That's a good point that you brought
up.
If
you're cycling through friends, I mean, you're unstable. I feel you're unstable.
It's obvious that you can't hold a decent, like if you can't hold a friendship, there's no way you're gonna hold an intimate relationship, you know.
Exceptions are if like you're moving for military or school, or you're constantly moving every couple of years. Okay, I get it. It's you have to find friends wherever you live.
But if you've never moved out of the state,
yeah, and you don't have like someone you've been friends with for even more than 10 years, that's a horrible sign.
Yeah. Okay, but now you brought up a whole bunch of lists of stuff. I'm gonna skip a few questions.
I'm good at interviews.
Yeah, I'm prepping you for your next ones. You know.
Thank you.
All right, dude. Do you think, or does body count affect dating in your mind? Like for you?
Short answer is no. But the caveat is the things I said, right?
Yeah.
So if someone who, and it's possible people go through their phases or whatever, right? If you're intentionally going through that phase, that might affect you differently. But I don't think most people are.
Well, I like that you said intentionally.
Yeah, like if you're intentionally going through that phase, that's a personality trait,
a marker
or a decision
of
you've chosen to go through, right? People can go through tough times and have difficult times in life, but to put a number, because if I said body count mattered, that would mean I have a number in my mind. And in the event I had a number, what woman is going to honestly tell me their actual body? There are some that will be honest. Yeah. It would be like probably 5 out of 1,000 that would tell you like, oh, this is my actual body count.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have that discussion because if I were asked, I feel inclined to provide that number too. But here, I guess to answer the question, it's nuanced, right? If they have a high body count, that wouldn't bother me. But again, the intent behind it or how you handled that, if you're going to be a problem every time we go out, we run into a guy, you make a scene, or they're going to be making a scene out of it, that's a history that I'm going to have a hard time getting past, right? Like, do what you need to, but if you're going to be dramatic, you're going to cause issues for me out in public. I'm a quiet guy, I like being low key. I don't like being bothered. Yeah. So I would just say, and I have a lot of female friends and maintain them, right? They're very special to me. And when I see some of their friends, or even if they have like higher body counts too, that tends to correlate to a lot of drama. Yeah. So it's hard to even say. So without asking, I mean, again, I pay attention mostly to what is your behavior? Are you too into yourself too? That actually bothers me.
Yeah. Oh, I can
Where
have
you're so into
any.
yourself, you think you're so high, so highly of yourself. Back to your little yay phase when you were, I'm a god. Dude, I'm not gonna have a conversation with you because you think any conversation that doesn't involve you is not worth having,
Oh yeah,
and that is not someone I want to interact with.
for sure. And just to state, that was just a joke. You know, I mean,
Oh,
I
I
did
know,
say,
I know it was a joke. I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying, I'm utilizing that as the example of if someone thinks so highly of themselves, have a narcissistic, egotistical tendency, that's not okay. I want high self-esteem,
Yeah.
and so they can't be conflated.
Or high self worth. You know,
Yeah, and then people are like, how do you tell that it's a behavior? You're just gonna have to watch them
for
long enough, interact with them long enough to determine is it ego or is it a good self-esteem that they have.
and what don't they say? Like after 3 months is when people start showing their true selves.
I don't know. You have the stats for that.
I didn't.
but
I mean, I didn't check that
yeah.
one up, but I think I've heard something
Speaking
like
of
that.
me being powerful, I feel like I'm pretty good at picking up on people's behaviors pretty quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's right off the spot, like right on the spot, but
But then emotions blur. You know what I mean?
of course, yeah.
Blur your
It could
your
be-
ability to read like people or
For sure.
rooms or you know.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, if I've looked past red flags before, that's on me. Like I'm now choosing to ignore some of the signs that I could possibly know. Is she going to be a good match for me or not?
I mean, we've all done that, you know.
And the bad thing is, to be fair to some women too, that's why it's difficult for me as well. And I'll say that I don't know if I've never said this. I'm going to say I don't know. I've never said this before. I prefer being friends or at least somewhat on really like really good acquaintances before I attempt to, because I like knowing all of that.
Yeah.
And even in a 3-month span, you know, if they had a family member pass or just a really tough time, that could really influence how they behave or interact with me or with other people. So I want to see a long enough time where, okay, this is an anomaly of a behavior versus this is your actual behavior.
Yeah, like what's ground zero for you, or what's your middle ground, or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the tough thing too, because people are like, oh, on a first date, you know whether you want to or not. And yeah, I agree with that too. But again, it could have been an off day for him or her, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, women, if you see a guy and like, oh, he was weird and, you know, he wasn't really, it could have been a bad day. But and that's on you. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to date. It makes sense. You don't want to waste your time. But people being so picky, I'm being one of them. You waste your time by not wasting your time, or trying not to waste your time.
Yeah, I understand. Okay then. With that said, what do you consider a high value woman?
I feel like, what, are you trying to date me, Javi?
Hey, you know what? You're a powerful man.
I'm kidding.
You got a good voice.
I think I've said it already. I think value is odd, right? It's not intrinsically tied to anything. It's the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'll tell you what I look for in a woman. So anyone who's listening to this or watching this, which you should, and you should share it, this is my perception of what I look for in a woman. This is not what fact is. This may not be what other men think, but so I want someone who's peaceful. That means you're not going to cause me issues, right? If I'm going to go out with you, I'm not going to have to fight no battles just because you decide to act up. You're not going to embarrass me in front of my friends. You're not going to embarrass me in front of strangers. That's a big thing for me. That's value. I don't need you to make a crazy amount of money. I do want you to be financially put together in the sense that I'm not going to pick up all of your bills all the time. You know,
Or
especially
be
if
like ridiculously in debt.
yeah, I mean, if they're ridiculously in debt and they're working out of it, I'm okay with that.
Maybe like
But
student loans or something like reasonable.
Student loans, if you have a mortgage.
But what if it's like just like credit cards and stuff like?
This is where I have to get to know the person, because if I can tell they've been actively working, a good pattern of behavior would be 6 months financially for me. If I can see you're working towards getting out, I will accept that. However, if you're running up credit cards galore and I can see you have no control on your spending habits, no thank you. What else? Good sense of family, good sense of friends. That's high value for me. Someone who's not overly vain. And I mean, because I believe in taking care of yourself, self-appearances, right? That's not vain. I think it's vain if that's the only thing you value. And you can see that almost in the way that they consume even media. So that's a big thing. If you can only quote, and the only thing you consume is like reality TV, that has never worked out. I've dated so many women and I've tried getting past it, but the only like form of entertainment they love is, you know, I don't even know what they're called. Real Housewives, the Jersey Shores.
Oh yeah.
Even the
Kardashians.
Challenge. Is that the show called The Challenge?
I have no idea.
Big
You've named all
Brother.
the
Like,
ones
if
I know.
that's the only thing you consume, I'm fine if you consume it. But if that is the basis of all your entertainment or personality,
It becomes
please,
almost
no.
like a way of your life, you know?
Maybe
Like,
for fun, I'll date you, but I will not take you seriously.
I can
So,
only imagine like the gossip with those people.
but there's no conversation to be had with them outside of they see someone, which is funny because I like to make weird scenarios and tease people, just in a theoretical or hypothetical situation. But you can't tell me, a great conversation that you had with your mom or your friend, a great experience, a great memory. No, it's all dramatic. It's just too much work.
Oh yeah.
I controversy or not, I'm not against cosmetic surgery, but if if you're 60% cosmetic surgery, probably not going to work out because I mean that shows a
Because then
level
you're
of
more
vain.
plastic than human. So
Yeah,
then
man.
you're basically you're basically a sex toy at that point. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I don't need that. Okay. Adam and Eve. Is that's a website, right?
they're from the Bible. I don't think they're having sex. You
They
know?
have a website, I'm pretty sure, for
Fucking
adults, for
perverts.
adult toys.
Cool.
And we're not endorsed by them. I'm not even telling you to go buy it. I'm pretty sure it's a
But if you're
website.
into that, you know, if you're
Yeah.
60% plastic surgery,
If you want less human, more toy, that Chucky doll.
yeah. And then I bring up the body count because, like, that one analogy, the lock and key. I've mentioned this to a lot of like women.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you've heard of it. Some like Chinese philosopher or even Confucius or whatever.
Okay.
Where it's like, women are obviously the locks, right? And if a lock is easy to pick, what good does it do?
Oh, okay.
And
I
the
think I
master
know.
key, the
Okay.
dude, you know.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. So I brought this up, and women fucking torch me. Why would you say that? Like that? Why? I hope you don't think like that. Which, like, I actually do. Because to me, it's like, bro, what good is a lock that anyone can pick? And on the opposite end of the spectrum is like, what? Don't you think a key that can open any fucking door or any, you know?
Sure. You're asking me my opinion on this?
Yes.
Again, I'm a nuanced individual if you haven't picked up yet. So while I might agree with a overall idea, it doesn't mean that there aren't specifics to it, right? So I think we'll go with the route of this. Dating sites is going to be a perfect example, I think, to utilize it. So any man and women, if you have male friends that are okay sharing their interactions, you should watch them. Sit with them for like an hour or two and watch them try to interact with women on Instagram, on, I don't know if Twitter people try to date, but whatever social media platform. Mostly the OkCupids, the Tinders, and Bumbles.
Grinders.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like for gay men, it's a bit of a different playing field.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
But I've only heard stories, you know?
I've heard stories too, because I have some friends and they'll tell me, and they have a much easier time linking up, or even seriously dating. But women, I mean, men tend to be visual creatures, right? Like, but I'd like to say we're more open to whatever people might think. Oh, social norms. I think guys just like females. We find a lot of women very pretty. I think there's a lot of very pretty women, even average women, whatever that you think is average. I find to be pretty, like very pretty. Personality has a big thing to do with it, but physically, there's an attraction.
Well, I think they say, like, men fall in love with what they see and women fall in love with what they hear.
Yeah.
So that's why
true.
that 80%, like, shocked the shit out of me.
And
When I saw that, I was like, what the
that's
hell?
my point. So this is where I tie in. Like I agree to that because for women it's just easier. Like I'm trying. Maybe what's a good example to use? If a woman walks into a bar or a club and opens herself to the idea, like, hey, any man that wants to take me up on dating me right now, and even if she's moderately attractive. Most men, outside of anyone who is like married and doesn't want to like ruin that relationship or whatever, would take her up on that, right? Like as men, generally speaking, that would be the case, right? Like a majority of the men in the bar
Yeah.
have an average looking man or even a like a very attractive man with whatever you want us, like anything a woman would want, generally speaking.
Like, what a nice
He
body.
does the same thing. There might be women that throw themselves at him, but that number is greatly reduced. So conceptually speaking, a man has to work harder, I guess, in my opinion, or it's harder, at least for a man intrinsically, for women to want him versus a woman wanting men.
Well, for like the initial act of attraction.
Yeah,
or
and that's
whatever.
fine because I mean, women's behavior if you're thinking of like sexual nature, in the sexual nature, women have to be picky. Because if like you can get pregnant, that's what if you want to call that a side effect? Let me call it a side effect. That's a pretty big one. You put your now body at risk. You're maybe arguably off the dating market if you didn't want to be pregnant. You could come with complications. Now you might, because women, their beauty is something they hold high. They might feel ugly because they're like, oh, now I'm gaining weight. I have a kid inside me. No man wants me. So they have to be picky because,
which is very true because at that point they're unattractive because
a man doesn't
males,
want that.
You want to get somebody pregnant. It's basically the end game, right?
Yeah, and some men are into that, but it's a small number. But so for females, it's hard, and they have to. And I mean, STDs, if you want to get, or STIs, whatever people want to call it now, that affects both sides. But either way, I mean, I think women have more to lose in being sexual. Would that be promiscuous? I guess maybe that's the right word. Promiscuous than men, because a man could get her pregnant and dip and never see, and we've seen that a lot in certain societies. So women have to be picky, but now that's where I'd say maybe I'm not going to say overly picky. Maybe they're not overly picky, especially with these 20% of men.
Yeah,
but they have more to lose, but because they have more options.
Yeah, but that's why they have the right to choose.
Women just have more options, so that's I think where the analogy comes into play. Like, I would think more of a man who can land more women than a woman who lands any man, because I generally I have a lot of my female friends are
sex toys.
Yeah, like I have a lot of very attractive female friends, and I knew if I'd walk into a bar with them, if they wanted to pull a man, I find it almost impossible for them to not walk out with one if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like I'm relatively attractive. I mean, my directness can work against me, but either way, I would take L's a lot before I found one who would want to actually let me take them on a date. Harder than to just even date them.
Yeah.
Versus, a man will pick you for whatever. So I agree to it. There is a nuanced thing, but I get what the phrase is, and unfortunately, whether you like it or not, there's some level of truth to that.
Yeah. Well, I also think about it like that French bridge where everyone puts locks and throws away the key into the river or whatever.
Well, okay.
I think of it like that, a man or the key can come in, fuck your lock and break it and shit, and and put it in layman's terms,
Yeah.
But not that I 100% agree with it, like you said, but yeah. I think it's just funny.
Does Cynthia know about all this extensive dating research you've done?
No.
Okay.
Well, actually, yes, I did. I did tell her what I was going to talk about.
So how did she perceive that? Is she okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know if it was like, what do you need to talk about?
Well, I was doing this last night, and,
okay,
and I told her hey, I said, why are you watching that?
Cynthia. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to wife, but she's like, why are you listening to? And I'm like, oh, just certain dating stuff, because to me dating now, like I said, it terrifies me, and then I see everybody else is so fucked in the head. Mentally, but
that's a cultural thing, at least specifically, I think, for Western society. And when I say Western, I don't mean just the Western part of the hemisphere, because I just mean any very developed country who thinks that everything should be what I said it in our show on Beans and Rice. I'm trying to think of people value individual happiness over fulfillment. And that kind of goes back to my idea, where I tried answering you, if right now I would feel more fulfilled for sure if I was married to a woman, that I of course picked. And even if I didn't have a kid, even if I was just married, I know personally, there's no way for me to deny I for sure would be more fulfilled as opposed to individual happiness, Yeah. And I think people sacrifice fulfillment versus individual happiness, or they sacrifice fulfillment over, or in lieu of individual happiness for temporary happiness.
Yeah. Damn. Okay, let's jump into social media, dude.
Let's jump into social media. Something I'm not very familiar with.
How does it... Well, I was going to say, how does it impact your life? Because I knew you were having issues with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Or you felt like you were forced to answer and reply to, either your friends or situations where... Not that you don't want to answer, but you're it's almost like a job,
Yeah, I'm a caring person, and if I call you a friend and you legit have my phone number... if I gave you my number as a friend, You have access to me that most people don't have. And what I mean is, if you're going through a difficult time and I'm in a position where I can help you, I for sure will drop what I'm doing at that moment to help you. So with social media, I think it blurs that line. It provides access to so many people that I don't think we even are built for, right? We're used to living in tribes, having a small or even a large family unit, but like, you know, everyone that you live around,
Yeah.
historically speaking, and or your family, like, everyone should not have that kind of level of access to you, in my personal opinion. So like, if people post personal things, but I have a lot of friends who have aspirations to build businesses, their podcasts, their music, whatever the case may be, and I want to show support. And so this is where I fall for the trap on the social media aspect, is showing the support is almost like you have to show it through proof that I like this video, I shared this video with somebody, as opposed to me just texting them, or when I see them, like, hey, I like this or that, which prove that I'm paying attention, that I'm watching them and supporting them. Even if I don't have to say it, they should know I'm in their corner. So social media, because that kind of ties as a trail proving you're not liking my stuff, I chose to be off of specifically Instagram for a month, just to, I guess, cleanse. Just kind of like maybe get my
That's
bearings
basically
in
like
order.
the only social media you had, really. Like, I don't know what other apps you had, like, might have had, but like,
Yeah, I mean, I have Snap, but funny enough,
but Snap is not really like,
yeah, I don't find it social because you have to like go look for whatever it is you want.
yeah,
And I literally only use it to message,
us,
you
yeah.
know, you, your brother, Alice, to like coordinate certain things, and outside, and a couple other friends too, I'll like message on.
Which is weird to me, because like a lot of people Snapchat me when I know they have my number, and like they just won't reply to my text. But as soon as I snap them,
I don't know what it is about that platform, but it feels more convenient to message on there.
it's almost like more intimate too. Like,
Maybe, yeah, because you have to go out of your way, almost more out of your way.
yeah,
But so I mean, that was on me for sure. I used that month to collect. Like, I shouldn't have been in the position. I put myself in that position, right? Because I always promote self esteem, like being aware and, you know, socially aware of yourself and emotionally aware. So it was almost like a loss for myself, and my concept is like, I allowed all that to get to me. So I'm back on now.
oh, so
But that
almost like
month-
you lost yourself in,
Yeah, but I did that to myself, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I've always been like, I should never be pressured by outside pressures. I should have my own self-esteem, and I always promote that. So it's like, I have to take accountability for losing sight of the thing I preach.
Yeah.
So
okay.
you were a hypocrite, and people love saying, which people are
But everybody,
hypocritical.
dude, like,
in
and I hate when
theory,
people say
but-
that.
Dude, but like, first of all, your quote's unoriginal, okay? You're a hypocrite. Yeah, you're probably a hypocrite too.
Everybody
You can't
is.
even spell hypocrite, okay?
I know I can't,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, I hate when people say that. Like, oh, they're such a hypocrite. But like, bro, we all are. Like, literally, like, you'll say one thing, and then any one of us can do, like, say one thing, and then 2 minutes later, dude, you're doing the exact same shit you were fucking like hating on.
Yeah, the lack of compassion's crazy. But
So-
yeah.
That's funny. So how do you perceive it has impacted society as a whole now?
Social media?
Yeah.
I mean, I gave, I think, a really big portion. It's like, you're almost forced to like things, so it almost makes you more fake. And that's where I think I was struggling. Like, I didn't want people not knowing that I was supporting them, and in turn making me look like a fake friend.
Okay.
So it's like this, you're missing, it's the FOMO thing. It's, you have access to all this stuff, and most people tend to only post the best parts of their life on social media, which in turn, you're now like trying to keep up with them. And you no longer now have, and I've said that you've always clouded your judgment if you're constantly looking at social media. Your opinions aren't even your own opinions. You're regurgitating what you heard on someone else. You saw a 5-minute clip on one topic, and now that 5-minute clip, you can just recite almost word for word. That's not your opinion. You just heard
you
that.
just copy
and now
and
you're
paste it.
regurgitating it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's okay on small subjects that don't matter.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to like figure out things of questions in life, like how you're asking me what I feel to be very personal questions on dating,
Oh,
I don't know if most people would be able to provide you a comprehensive answer
like you
on
did.
why they struggle with dating, or why they don't know what's working for them or what's not.
Yeah.
It's like, first
Like
of all,
a self-analysis almost.
yeah, you have to look at yourself. So it's advice I've always given too, where I even have to take music fasts, like for a few days, because I think music is one of the most powerful mediums of anything. So I'm like, let me take 2 or 3 days, and it's hard for me because I love music. So, and I listen to a wide variety, but I'll take like a day or two to try to not listen to anything, because you just have to like sit and be quiet for yourself. I maybe at least 30 minutes a day is what I try to do.
Yeah. Well, I try to do that, but I only do that when I'm in the car. Like as soon as I get home.
That's a good place to do it.
Yeah, I just sit there and just like, all right, give me like 5-10 minutes. Cynthia caught me one time. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I had to make up a lie, because I was like,
I'm
"What the
thinking
hell?"
of the dating scene, Cynthia.
Yeah,
Go back in. You're ruining my peace.
What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm decompressing, I guess.
Yeah.
And I like almost like, oh, I'm just watching a video, and
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I agree.
It's like keeping up appearances or whatever. I don't know. And the other thing is too is this, and this is going to sound harsh, but I don't care. I think it needs to be said. Social media gave a voice, and I do that with quotations. Anyone, if you're listening, I did it with quotations because it's like you always had that. You could share your opinion with anyone, but now you think your opinion is so valid that you put it out there for everybody to see.
What's funny because a lot of them will never say it to anybody's face.
Yeah,
but it's so quick to like, oh, I can post it, and then if I want to, I could delete it later or something.
Yeah.
Almost like the ability to take away what you've said.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like because they voice it online, it even removes their ability to have a normal conversation with someone about it. Even if they would say the same thing, they posted it in their 140 characters, or they used a meme. Like, just come up with some, and people are like, oh, I would even argue there's not an original thought. Like anything I've thought of before, I honestly feel another human has thought of.
No, that's exactly what it is. We're all copy paste of like our ancestors and anything we've read, and
but
there's nothing new under the sun, essentially.
Yeah, but when I mean original thought, it's like it's unencumbered by outside influences always.
But that's impossible.
No, it's impossible in the sense that you're just a product of your environment and who you're surrounded
Unless
by.
you've been
but I'm talking about like the memes, right? Like the whole, I mean, we made fun of it, the whole Little Miss, I love pumpkin spice lattes in the fall. Little Miss, love wearing wool socks when it's cold outside. It's fun. Those things I'm not knocking on that. I'm using that as like, how about you draw your own and come up with your own little caption?
Yeah.
Because we did. But it's odd because again, it's just like this. It's just a regurgitating cycle of things. Go have a conversation with someone, sit down with them, and if you can't do that, if you're not in a position to do that, FaceTime them or call them on the phone. It's so much better than interacting on these social platforms because then there's almost even fake outrage. Like you're forced to want to be outraged, or if you don't post,
you don't support this, and
it causes you to have short-term memory because you're trying to keep up with everything. That now, like, whatever was such an important piece, shoved to the back, and now there's a new problem.
Yeah.
That's unhealthy.
It really is. But, I mean, so to use an example, which I was going to jump to anyway, about Ye and maybe even Kyrie, how, I don't know if he's outraged or I don't know what Ye's going through, but, and I listened to a little bit of what Kyrie was saying, and like, it's kind of weird that I think I've sent a meme or a comedian where they're like, "Oh, Ye said this is anti-Semitic," and the bank shuts it down, right?
Okay.
And then, Ye shouldn't have a Twitter or whatever, so the cancel culture shuts it down.
Okay.
And the guy's like, come on, guys, I'm a Jew too, and you guys are only proving his theory to be right.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's like, stop it! You're making his theory correct.
Yeah,
that was a funny clip.
Yeah. So like, I guess a lot of people, I don't know where I'm going with this, but to me, it's like that fake virtuing because I think to put it in like, who the hell was it? I think it was Ice Cube.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys remember, like, where he was talking all that shit about, I want to say Helen Keller, but it's,
why would he be talking
Jerry Heller or whatever? What's his name?
Jerry Heller.
I think the record exec.
Okay.
And he was a Jew, right?
Oh, the guy that put the NWA together.
I don't. Yeah, it was NWA.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh fuck, like Jew this and da 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 da. And then just recently, like I had seen a post of where he has like a meme looking thing with like a bunch of black people under a table and then a bunch of Jewish people. I say Jewish, but they look Jewish, and all it takes is
if it's a picture, that's what they're attempting to portray. But yes, go ahead.
So, but now it's like this hypocrisy of like, oh, what the hell is Ye doing? I'm pretty sure he was one of them. Like, I don't know what you gotten into, yay. But dude, you were like, for I don't know how long you were yelling "fuck the Jews" and "fuck this guy." And
This is Ice Cube.
yes,
Okay, so I'll be honest. I don't know much of what's going on outside of. I know some of the accusations, and this was in quotes on Twitter that was tweeted out by. I think it was I don't remember what account it was. Anyways, the only difference in the thing that I saw that wasn't seeming okay was if this is to be true. If this, I don't even know exactly what it said. I read something that reported on it was DEFCON 3.
I was like, I don't even know
So
what that means. It
that's
just
a
sounds
call
like
to violence. So that I get. That's not okay.
Okay.
The call to violence.
Yeah.
I don't know what else he said because that's just the part that stuck out to me. So I think that section alone is like, okay, you know what? That is kind of verbiage, not kind of. That is direct verbiage that had been used
By
in one way or
yeah.
before by the Nazi Party in
Yeah.
Germany years ago. And I think I believe in free speech for sure. But if you're calling to violence, whatever side of the spectrum you're on, that's not okay.
Oh, for sure.
I think opinions are different, but if you're calling for violence, that's not okay. And so the rest, I mean, I don't know how I can add more to it, I guess, this discussion piece. I'm not sure.
Well, I think I was going with like cancel culture and how.
Oh,
Like,
virtue signaling. You said that,
Yeah.
so I thought of that. Dude, back to the hypocrisy thing. You know, what are people tweeting from? iPhones, Androids, Google. It doesn't matter what phone you have. You have extorted someone by paying for even though it's a stack, $1,000. Whether you want to face it or not, there was a child behind it, and I'm not doing this even for humor. Probably bleeding fingers, working 12 to 15 hours a day.
you're talking about my life right now.
Is that where you're at right now?
It kind of feels like
You
it,
need to
know?
form a union or something.
I tried.
Because we're in a privileged place to do that. But, you know, people talk about hypocrisy. So what's outside of the DEFCON comment, which is a call to violence, what makes you a better person than someone who has a terrible opinion on anything? Like, I think we all have probably terrible takes or opinions on things. Like, literally, this, again, if you're not watching, I'm holding up my phone. I know, there's no doubt in my mind, there's probably, if not a kid, a terrible work environment that made it. My shoes that I'm wearing, the shoes you wear, 90 to 100% of the stuff in your house was built at the price you could afford through extortion. So you are not better than anyone else just because you don't see it.
Yeah.
But now that you see someone, regardless of their position, regardless of skin color, regardless of gender, identity, political party, religious endeavors, you just hate on someone because you now have a face to attach to it. But your face should be attached to extortion of immigrants, if you want to be that bold. People in China, Bangladesh, India, like South America, Central America, North America, specifically Mexico, right? We've all partook in some form of
kind of-
extortion
Or
by
slave
literally
work.
buying stuff. And yeah, hey, host, I have to buy food. Hey, I have to buy clothing. You're absolutely right. But that does that make you still better than anyone else who has an opinion on something? I would say no. So to close off the cancel culture thing, talk to someone. Everybody has a bit of evil. If you want to be that harsh, put a magnifying glass or a microscope on absolutely everything you do, and you'd be kind of surprised at how much you're allowing extortion, slave trade. What is it called? Slave trade labor, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I can't think of the phrase, but whatever.
Yeah. But
So
no,
that's my viewpoint.
no.
You can't virtue signal without being he who has sinned, who has not sinned, cast the first stone. I know that's a religious, but it sums it up perfectly. None of us are perfect. Hypocrites. All of you.
Yeah, dude. I think the only thing that bothers me is like he's been like, or anybody that gets canceled, like even if I don't agree with them, like, yo, let them speak, let them say what they want, correct them if you must.
I think
You know?
it's better if they're honest, because I don't want someone I don't know their intentions. I prefer honesty, because like if I know someone is racist, cool. I know to avoid you. I'm not going to interact with you.
Exactly.
Versus a fake racist who might at some day decide to act on it. Right now, I have my guard down because I don't know that they are. And that's a very dire circumstance. I interact, I think, with a lot of good people, but that's just an example of. I would rather it be in the open, so I like that aspect of it.
I mean, me too. But yeah, like I think my problem with it is like, why are we like we shouldn't be censoring like really anybody, because that's also what the Nazi Party did. And
No, I agree. I don't
know?
think we should ever censor anyone. as long as they're not calling
For
for
violence.
violence.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump to like a little. Let's call the violence, right? You've mentioned before, and I think I agree with you that before World War III starts, America will be in a civil war.
Yeah. I think we've started seeing that kind of like, it's a very early stage in my opinion, but we've started to seeing an unraveling of division within the country. So yes, I do think there will be a civil war within the U.S. before a world war even occurs.
But what do you think? Because I kind of watch like world politics more than I mean, not more than I do the U.S. ones.
Yeah.
But I just see a lot of people like standing up, and it seems to be like a lot of the other countries also have like two-party systems.
Yeah.
I think Brazil being one of them, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little afraid for 2024.
Okay.
Just because I don't know who's running.
Sure.
What the hell, like everyone's already like, I think these elections that are coming up here in like a week or two, the governor races and all that.
Yeah, the midterms.
Like they're already talking about like election fraud and all that.
Okay.
Again. So like I'm terrified for.
I think that's journalism. I mean, I don't want to pin it all on journalism. Social media is like almost like everyone can be a journalist, whether by trade or not, because people want the clout. I hate using that word, but it's like the only word I can use. It's like a perfect word.
Yeah.
People want attention so much and validation that they will say what they think is going to gain the most amount of attention. And generally, if you say something that's scary, of course, that's going to be the most attention-worthy thing, right? Like Ukraine is still getting bombed, but because that's old news, it's not getting clicks, so people are. So I would say.
What do you mean? I still have the Ukraine flag on my bio.
Has it helped them?
I would think so. I hope so. You know.
Hypocrite. But
hey, my tax money went over there, so
you're absolutely right. So did mine. I'm an honest taxpayer. Where was I going with this? Oh, so I still do think there will be a World War III. It's inevitable. I think it just happens. I do think that the condition of the world, though, is far worse if you look at it through the lens of social media. Like, go outside, go interact with people, even people I know that don't have the same ideologies as me. I can still share a drink with them, have a good conversation.
Yeah.
And that's why I say you need to like distance yourselves from your phones. I'm not saying that there still won't be any wars. If you did more of that, maybe it would curb it, or maybe that would be a couple generations down. You know, maybe my great-grandchild, if I have any children, that'll be their problem. Okay, I don't have to deal with it. You can deal with it. Have some accountability for the actions, but
so funny.
So.
But I also see it like, yo, America's pretty lazy, you know.
Well, yeah, we
like, I don't
have
see
it
them
so
like,
good,
yeah,
that it causes like you.
Why would I revolt if my iPhone still works? And I have like I can go to any restaurant. And...
There are people that have conspiracies about that. They made it so easy for us in the U.S. that you don't want to revolt because you don't even know what any struggle is. Like your hardest struggle is exactly that, your hardest struggle. If your hardest struggle was that maybe you didn't have power for 5 days, that is vastly different than someone in the Philippines who hasn't had clean water accessible to them for their entire life.
Yeah,
those are two very different struggles. Even if the time frame is like vastly different, but I mean that's part of it. And I'm not saying Filipinos are stronger than us. They're malnourished. They could be weaker, you know. But you know, if they don't have clean water,
they barely had any COVID, you know, like out there. From what I
have
heard,
Western medicine, but it's like the world isn't as bad as social media makes it out to be. But it will be that bad if things continue, because it's like no one can even disagree on anything. Yeah. That's why I brought up, I have friends that we know we don't have the same ideologies. That doesn't stop us from having a good time, from me hugging them, me saying, hey, I love you when I leave. Because, you know, if that's the last time I see them, I want them to know that I love them.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty dope, you know?
But there still will be mark my words, there will be a World War III. Probably in the next 20 years. But Civil War first, yeah. You guys like Marvel movies, okay? You hypocrites? Civil War.
You know,
are you going to go on Iron Man's side or Captain America? I am a patriot. Captain America.
Captain Puerto Rico.
Forget the cyborgs, you know? I'm not going to side with the cyborgs.
Statehood 51. Let's go.
No. Do not make the island a 51st state.
Damn,
no statehood for the
I hope
island.
Mexico becomes the 51st state, you know? But I'm just kidding. But dude, I want to thank you for being the first neighbor to come through again.
I appreciate you.
I hope it was fun.
I had fun. I always have fun with you.
I know that my questions are a little silly and out there, and hopefully Cynthia doesn't beat me when I get home.
Nah, she'll be fine.
I mean, I did warn her, so like
they're good questions. I mean, I think that I said it earlier, if you're not able to like really formulate a thought of yourself and express why you have a thought process or why you do that, I think that's important. If you can't explain yourself to someone, you're missing out.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole reason why I created this podcast. So I can get better at talking, say words correctly, you know?
So this is an educational journey for
me.
Just you.
Yeah, just okay. For me. I don't give a shit if people watch this, to be honest. But this is to better myself, build upon my ego, which upon I stand.
Okay.
And, you know, hopefully get to
the complete opposite of Sesame Street, HBO. Pick this show up.
Come on. I'm hungry, you know? I look like a Filipino kid out here. I'm just kidding. Mexico is third world as well, you know? So, but dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if you want to plug anything or...
I don't have anything to plug, guys. The only thing I will plug, Beans and Rice.
Beans and Rice.
He's on the show with me. It's complete satire.
Home network.
He's a subsidiary, not subsidiary.
Subsidiary.
It's just a lot of fun.
Obsidian.
That's volcanic rock, glass rock. But we just have fun there. Again, it's satire. None of it is to be taken seriously except the end for wholesome advice. It's a good time there. So that's the only thing I want to plug.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to you, especially because you helped build this, and Beefy, who's working the mic or the sound and video and all that. And you guys built basically I did shit but show up and ask questions. So I appreciate you guys so much.
We're glad to make this easier for you. You wanted to learn, you did none of it. So hopefully like this whole word thing works out.
Yeah, hopefully the verbiage and I can start saying words precisely and my vocabulary grows.
Yeah, if there's eligible bachelorettes, I guess you could feel free to hit me up.
I'll send them your way.
_Butter Pecan _Puerto Rican. Okay, that's long. But you need to show some effort in order for me to even take you serious. So
true. Also, if you want to follow me at Neighborhood Hove on IG, because that's all I really mess with. Follow at Beans and Rice on YouTube. I don't know where we're gonna put this. Pretty sure under that.
One of the
Spotify,
channels, I think,
maybe.
Is what we'll put it under. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. But hope you guys enjoyed and come along on this journey with me. There will be plenty more. Thank you guys.
Until we hang out next time.
Goodbye.
I got your catchphrase now. Until we hang out again, or whatever it is you want to say.